So I guess it's a good roll-in from the last talk that we've just had about OpenOnDemand and how it's being used everywhere else. And if you were here at eResearch about a year ago in Wellington, we discussed NeSI and what we were doing in regards to our training environments. So it's just an ephemeral environment that exists purely for training purposes. And it is created and spun up using infrastructure as code and all of those kind of systems built on top of NeSI's RDC. We use our normal GitHub pipelines, so we do have these available for anyone who wants to look at them, comment on them, do as you want with them as well. And we deploy that to our research developer cloud that is currently hosted at NeSI. Some of the advantages we found with the training environment itself was that it's easy for users to log in. It was one of the comments that we got from our people that were running the training environment is that logging in was always a fun part of the experience. And being able to repeat that training material, so the same material that we use, you can keep using again and again and again, and it's always the same one. The other one too is when you're doing training environments, your setup is not necessarily the same as the trainer's setup, and is always different to someone else's setup. The Windows users, to the Linux users, to the Mac users, we all have different environments when we're trying to navigate through file structures. So this way there, we all have the exact same environment that we're running in. And also it enables other institutions to create and use the same environment anywhere else. Some of the improvements that we're looking at doing for our training environment is either having a standalone HPC associated with it, because currently it's just no HPC work relating to them, so intro to command line, real basic Python and RStudio systems, or hoping to have it possibly connected to our HPC3. So that way we can do those high performance computing jobs associated with it. The other one we want to do is integrate into Jira, our ticketing system, so that anyone can create the environment without the need for someone who's done it before. You just go, I would like training environment for 10 users on X date. Here's the environment done, we close the ticket, environment's destroyed, off it goes. And more training material, because you can never have enough of those. So with the direction that we've got with this, the main reason as well is this actually helped us to develop our own on-demand platform that we are now open for some of our users. We're keeping the same system, it's a login via Keycloak, it uses OpenOnDemand, and they can use RStudio and Jupyter Lab. So it's exactly the same environment. That way then the experience that you've been trained on is the same experience that you're going to get at NeSI or even at Otago. So just the basic technology that we're using, Terraform, that provisions all the virtual machines. Ansible is what we use to configure those machines. And then instead of using a standard deploying it to an HPC environment, we actually deploy it to a Kubernetes environment via Cluster API. And then we've just got basic NFS for storage in the home directories. But enough tech talk. What about the actual people that use the environment and how they? So a standard flow for a user begins by them receiving an email. They get a URL and just have a standard password and username. It's an ephemeral thing. You may get an email saying you are trainer 1 or trainee 1 with a password of about 8 characters long. Put it in, we sign in. We've seen this one before too, on demand. All those ones there are our basic training courses that we do offer in this environment. So we've got all of them there, ML 101, right down to introduction to Nextflow workshops, even RNA-Sec as well. So when you join up with your training, you know what you're training for. ML 101, 102, whatever you've picked for. If you log into someone else, we're going to know very soon because it does have the name of the training within the pod that started up. But also the trainees can ask, hey, I'm going to this one, and the trainer will be like, sorry, we're doing this one instead. And it's very easy to jump back and forth between the two. So say we pick ML 101 in this example, we get taken to the screen here. Again, it's very similar to OpenOnDemand and how it is. You just select how long is your training hours for. Secret, that number doesn't mean anything. You can put whatever you want in there, it'll run indefinitely. As we can see in the 152 hours and 17 minutes, if they're still training, it's a long training session at that point. It's more than 101. Once you hit the create, after entering your arbitrary number, we'll be taken to the screen here, and you're probably looking at about 30 seconds for the system to start up. And what that's actually done is just deployed a contained environment for you to do your training in. We get this one here, we hit connect, green means go, And we get to this screen here, which loads up in another tab for you as well. It's a Jupyter Lab environment. We can see there, it's normal, got your notebooks and everything on the side there. This is exactly the same that the trainer has. It's exactly the person that next to you has, the other person, anywhere else, they're all exactly the same things. So that you can easily see that we are now all in the same environments. We're not going to get lost anywhere on any file structure. You haven't had to download anything. It's all there, ready to go. And then you just go through, following the instructions of your trainer, to go through and do all the things that you need to learn about how to do ML 101. The other advantage too of this is the trainers actually have access to the trainees' home directories, so that if a trainee is actually lost or confused about something, they can actually get into those directories and provide a bit of help should they need to. And as always, thank you NeSI and everyone else, and also our sponsors and the people we work with to get it going, because I know a lot of the institutions are actually using it as well. A black screen, awesome, thank you. So there is we send out mail outs in regards to what trainings are coming up, and people do sign up for those ones. And then when you do get it, it's part of the email that you get sent as well. So there is a training, mail out or sign up part. Nisha is the best person to talk to about that one. She's not here, probably for that reason. But she would be best first to talk about that. But yes, there is sign-ups on all the things that we offer in regards to the training that's there. Signing up for those gives you that ability to get into that training.
Look at the NeSI website for the training. Thank you.
I would like to invite Carmen Teixeira from Lincoln University, harvesting data, AgYields database tool to support the New Zealand agriculture sector. Is Carmen here? Maybe not. All right, I might move on to ORCID in New Zealand, enhancing researcher discoverability, collaboration and impact. Tifany, Oulavallickal, Royal Society. Thank you so much.
Many of you here probably have heard of ORCID or already use it, because about 85% of New Zealand researchers have an ORCID ID. Why is that? Why do we care about ORCID? ORCID is a well-established, trusted, and widely adopted digital identifier that is a global standard for connecting research to researchers. We all want our work to be recognized and properly attributed to us, and organizations should be able to trust the information they see in a researcher's profile. That's where ORCID comes in. It is all about trust. ORCID aims to be a trusted part of the research infrastructure. It provides clarity on research contributions and the people behind them. It is guided by privacy and researcher control. ORCID's work is also transparent and open, and they are committed to inclusivity. So, in order to support the New Zealanders with the adoption of ORCID, Royal Society Te Aotearoa launched the New Zealand ORCID Consortia in 2016. It is fully funded by MBIE, and it is there to provide any technical support to the consortium members, to help them with ORCID integrations, to help them write ORCID records, and it also manages the New Zealand ORCID Hub, which you might also be familiar with. I'll talk a little bit about it soon. So, what is ORCID? ORCID stands for Open Researcher Contributor ID. It is a persistent identifier for individuals, such as researchers, innovators, and scholars. It is an online profile that is free for researchers to create and easy to use. And you have complete control over your profile. It acts as one location where all of your personal affiliations, research contributions, can be gathered. And this is beneficial not only to the researchers, but also institutions, employers, and funders. And as a persistent identifier, it has all the benefits of being globally unique, reliable, it disambiguates, it allows discoverability and correct attribution of work. And by being fair, that is findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable, it allows to save time and money. ORCID provides three main infrastructures. One is the 16-digit ORCID ID. This ID is unique to you and stays with you whether you change names, locations, or careers, unless you want to delete it, and that's all good. Secondly, we have the ORCID record, which is a digital CV that acts as a profile where you can have all your employment, education, funding, and other research outputs. And lastly, ORCID provides a set of APIs that allows interoperability between your record and member organizations. ORCID records contain trust markers. Those are items that are written into an ORCID record by a validated member organization. For example, there can be an affiliation written by an institution or a university. And these trust markers allows us to trust the researcher's profile. So here's an example of my ORCID record. The data that I added manually to my record comes as a source with a blue icon, whereas the information written to my profile by a member organization comes with the trust marker as a green tick. So the more trust markers, the more trustworthiness, and the more robust the entirely scholarly record. So all of this trusted data is accumulated within an ORCID record and then is shared between various systems, and in turn, thus reduces administrative burden for researchers. So member organizations are in a unique position to add this trustworthy information to the user's ORCID record via different ORCID integrations. And for example, one such integration is symplectic elements that we've heard about before. Or another one is the New Zealand ORCID Hub. So the New Zealand ORCID Hub was developed and maintained by the Royal Society Te Aprangi. It was specifically designed to allow the consortium members to productively engage with ORCID, allows them to integrate with ORCID without having to have costly technical resources. So it is a simple interface. It allows them to read and write into ORCID records with the user's permission. It is a certified service provider, so it allows a trusted integration, and it also allows login via Tuakiri or ORCID. So leaving you with one final message, the more fully populated ORCID records and integrated systems there are, the more value all the stakeholders can gain from adopting ORCID. Happy to take any questions or come and find me at lunch.
One difficulty that we ran into was that you could get to a situation where you could get an attestation of employment or something like that, but because you have control of your own record, you could then potentially remove the ability of that organisation to then revoke the record from your actual identity. Is that still the case?
Do you mean revoke permission of the trusted organisation?
Yeah.
Yes, yep, you can still do that.
But I mean, this is something where you want that organisation to be able to revoke the attestation. Does that work? Because we ran into this slight problem where essentially you could, as a staff member, I could be said that I belong to the University of Otago.
Yeah.
I don't belong to you. I It's strange anyway. I've got that affiliation, but then I can remove the ability for the University of Otago to actually remove that attestation. So I can kind of cling to the fact that I've got this record that says I'm a staff member, and I've stopped the uni from having the ability to remove that permission. Is that still the case?
I'll have to get back to you on that one.
It was a
Yeah.
pretty specific question.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that. Yeah. Yeah.